Could the earliest European Tyrannosaur discovery truly bridge the evolutionary gap between primitive hunters and later apex predators? How did thickened pneumatic nasal bones create a remarkably lightweight skull structure capable of delivering devastatingly efficient crushing bites? Why did this swift predator rely entirely on rapid evasion while sharing ancient coastal ecosystems with massive spinosaurid rivals? What hidden anatomical markers prove our only discovered skeleton belonged to a juvenile still experiencing remarkable skeletal growth? How did an intermediate evolutionary stage balance slender agility with emerging predatory traits before colossal tyrants dominated prehistoric Earth? Could deep internal facial recesses actually redirect immense feeding stress away from fragile bone structures during intense hunting pursuits? Why does the name Dawn Tyrant perfectly capture its foundational position at the very beginning of a legendary lineage? Don't miss what comes next in this story. Watch to the very end.
Welcome to the channel. I'm Jonny Dony, and I craft dinosaur documentaries grounded in real science. Our film, Grace, Before the Age of Giants, follows Eotyrannus navigating ancient floodplains. Monetization here has grown unpredictable lately, so this channel relies entirely on direct viewer support to continue. Please consider becoming a sponsor on Patreon, because every contribution helps produce the next film, link below. Hit like and subscribe to follow our ongoing paleontological releases. Now, let us step into the early Cretaceous.
Grace before the age of giants. The present is the past rolled up for action. William James. Cretaceous Floodplain. Beneath the subtropical canopy of the early Cretaceous, the Wessex Formation spreads out across a vast floodplain. Roughly 126 million years ago, this humid ecosystem drains slowly toward a northern sea. It sustains a remarkably lush, green, waterlogged landscape. Conifers, tree ferns, and ancient cycads crowd the drier hummocks. Thick reed beds choke the shallow standing water. In the far distance, a sauropodomorph herd browses the tree line, and a contemporary archosaur rests quietly near the muddy, dark, and slow riverbanks. Navigating this dense vegetation is Eotyrannus, meaning the Dawn Tyrant. Formally described by Hutt and colleagues in 2001, it is the first tyrannosaur discovered in Europe. It measures roughly 5 full meters in its total overall body length alone. This early predator targets small herbivores like Hypsilophodon among the green ferns. A small synapsid scurries past the foreground beneath the thick undergrowth. It carefully avoids the heavy footfalls of the approaching theropod in the warm, humid, and very subtropical forest air. Larger carnivores, like the 7-meter Baryonyx, dominate the shallow waterways. This forces the gracile hunter to rely entirely on its own raw speed. The shifting river channels periodically fragment these hunting grounds, concentrating both predator and prey near the reliable water sources. Atmospheric carbon dioxide runs fully 4 times the modern value. This holds the northern lowland in gentle, consistent, and steady warmth. The vast Wessex marsh never wholly leaves. It spreads, drains, and brims again with every passing season of the early Cretaceous. This chapter confirms Eotyrannus was Europe's earliest documented tyrannosaur. We want your perspective on its floodplain hunting tactics below. Like and subscribe so our team can fund future research. The next chapter reveals how elongated arms enabled rapid pursuit.
Gracile Species. The bipedal hunter steps through the deep, wet Wessex mud. Its lightly constructed body plan measures precisely 4.5 meters long. Elongated lower limb segments generate rapid stride cycles, prioritizing sustained velocity across the very humid river environment. A small gobiconodon scurries beneath a towering cycad. This emphasizes the hunter's relatively modest physical scale. A contemporary archosaur quadruped browses the dense fern undergrowth nearby, providing a stark mass comparison for this gracile mid-sized species navigating the ancient river delta. This species retains remarkably long forelimbs, equipped with 3 fully functional digits. Unlike its much bulkier relatives, these elongate arms reach forward to actively grasp struggling targets. It is a primitive trait preserved before later tyrannosauroids evolved reduced forelimb appendages. The skull features fused, thickened, pneumatic nasals with deep lateral recesses. This unique anatomy provides immense structural strength for biting. It significantly reduces overall cranial weight, allowing the hunter to snap its powerful, rigid snout with highly efficient tearing force. A Coloborhynchus drifts on thermal currents above. It casts a fleeting shadow over the rippling river. Below, the theropod freezes, its streamlined profile reducing frontal mass as it carefully scans the green ginkgo-lined banks for any isolated, unwary herbivores nearby. Muscles tense along the elongated hind limbs. The small target is finally spotted in the brush. The gracile hunter launches forward in a blur of motion, perfectly demonstrating why this intermediate-grade tyrannosauroid relied on breathtaking speed rather than brute-crushing power. Could a lightweight predator truly survive by prioritizing speed over brute force? We analyzed how its elongated limbs and reinforced skull optimized rapid pursuit. Like and subscribe to support our ongoing research. The next chapter reveals how this hunter evades massive rival predators.
Rival predator. 2 gracile tyrannosaurs collide beside the muddy riverbank, locking snouts in a boundary clash. The 4-5-meter rivals shove shoulder to shoulder, their elongated tridactyl hands grasping for leverage until the smaller challenger yields and retreats into the ferns. A massive Baryonyx emerges from the reeds, a spinosaurid nearly twice their size. This larger rival forces Eotyrannus to rely on speed to avoid direct conflict. The gracile hunter pivots sharply, using superior acceleration to escape the much larger predator's sweeping strike. Near the shallows, a 2-meter Leptocletus lunges from the deep muck to snatch the fleeing hunter. The marine reptile's powerful snout snaps shut on empty air as the targeted tyrannosaur twists away, leaving the aquatic predator to sink back beneath the surface. Another rival theropod tests the victor at the dense forest edge, initiating a brief but fierce combat. They exchange rapid strikes, but the standing champion drives its robust snout forward with enough force to knock the intruder off balance and secure the area. A 7-meter neovenator stalks through the thick cycads, seeking to steal the champion's hard-won meal. The resident Eotyrannus launches a sudden pursuit, its elongated tibiae generating rapid stride cycles that close the distance and drive the heavier rival away with a warning strike. Overhead, a 6-meter Coloborhynchus swoops toward the exhausted victor, aiming its pointed beak at the hunter's back. the Tyrannosaur swiftly spins and snaps its serrated snout, a defensive display that startles the pterosaur into aborting the attack and flapping into the canopy. While earlier segments mapped the ecosystem and skeletal mechanics, this chapter tracks territorial conflicts. We confirmed that tactical evasion secured dominance over direct combat. Like and subscribe to support our ongoing reconstruction of these survival strategies. The next episode reveals how courtship and hatchling independence continue this evolutionary journey.
Nest brood. Courtship begins with low vocal calls echoing through the dense riverbank ferns. A mature pair circles a shallow nest scrape, their social bond strengthening through subtle postural displays. The only known specimen reveals unfused neurocentral and sacral sutures, indicating a subadult measuring 4.5 meters. Multiple calcified eggs are arranged within the soft earth to incubate under the warm sun. Nearby, a herd of Hypsilophodon browses the riverbank, unaware of the hidden clutch. The developing embryos rely on ambient heat, requiring minimal parental supervision during this vulnerable breeding stage. Tiny hatchlings finally break free, possessing elongated limbs that facilitate immediate mobility across the forest floor. A small goby conodon scurries past the nest, representing the diverse ground fauna sharing this humid environment. The young dinosaurs rapidly transition to independent survival, leaving the brood unattended. This accelerated growth pattern allows the juveniles to outpace smaller ground threats while navigating the undergrowth. They form tight social groups for mutual vigilance, moving cautiously through the cycads. Such early independence ensures they gradually attain the full adult dimensions required for sustained survival. The juvenile pack threads slowly toward fresh vegetation, calling quietly to maintain contact within the dense ferns. High above, an Ornithocheirus drifts on thermal currents, casting fleeting shadows over the young animals. The pack ignores the aerial silhouette, focused entirely on their shared progress. As they mature, the young animals integrate fully into the broader spatial dynamics of the region. They travel in coordinated bands, their vocal signals rippling through the air to coordinate movement. The nest site is now abandoned, as the next generation claim. The independent juveniles we just tracked will soon confront a lethal environmental shift. Their accelerated growth directly precedes the severe drought that reshapes this entire floodplain. Please like and subscribe to help us preserve these paleontological records. Our next chapter documents how creeping aridity sealed the final extinction.
Early Extinction. Wessex Formation clay bakes under a relentless sun, shrinking the floodplain into isolated mudflats. The 5-meter Eotyrannus stalks the cracked earth, kicking up dust where rivers flowed. An iguanodon herd watches from the distant, parched tree line, safe beyond its reach. An intermediate grade of gracile tyrannosauroids, more derived than stoxosaurs, but less specialized than later tyrannosaurids. It needs constant calories. Without water, its lightly built frame loses its vital speed. The dominant hunter grows weak, unable to sustain its high metabolic demands. A desperate lunge at a stranded juvenile fails as the Tyrannosaur slips on hardened silt. Above, an Ornithocheirus circles the dying floodplain, casting shadows over the failing predator. The final hunt ends in exhaustion, the hunter collapsing beside the drying riverbed. As water sources evaporate, The terminal drought claims the remaining prey. This early extinction is sealed not by sudden catastrophe, but by creeping aridity across Western Europe. The great hunter breathes its very last on the silent, sun-baked mudflat. Scavengers gather around the exposed carcass, picking the gracile skeleton clean. Shifting river sediments bury the bones beneath accumulating clay, preserving the fossilized structure for millions of years. The physical remains sink deep into the earth, waiting for discovery. Modern discoveries from the Isle of Wight illuminate transitional evolutionary stages preceding later dominant lineages. Though this lineage vanished long before the asteroid event, its fossils reveal crucial intermediate morphological stages of Tyrannosaur evolution. This ancient hunter's legacy endures in stone. Our documentary journey concludes as we trace the Eotyrannus lineage into stone. These fossilized remains demonstrate how ancient droughts permanently altered early Tyrannosaur development. Like and subscribe to sustain our ongoing research. Explore our channel archive for additional prehistoric ecosystem documentaries.
Grace Before the Age of Giants reveals how Eotyrannus thrived as an agile hunter before ecological shifts ended its lineage. I'm Jonny Dony, and your thoughtful attention brings these ancient floodplains back to life. Please support this channel by subscribing and leaving a comment below. For first viewing, my Patreon community receives every new documentary a week before the public release, link below. Deep gratitude extends to my dedicated sponsors, whose backing funds each research phase. In just a few seconds, 2 videos with equally interesting documentaries about dinosaurs will appear on the screen. So, go on to watch the next fascinating story.